Well, did we let ourselves get our hopes too high? Is the Hearing Protection Act, which would remove silencers from the NFA, is it dead on arrival in the Senate? Hey everybody, Yankee here. Well, it's looking more and more like House Resolution 1, one big beautiful bill as they call it, the budget reconciliation bill that houses the Hearing Protection Act within it, is going to be dead on arrival in the Senate. It's starting to look like it's less and less likely that bill will pass as is. Even Elon Musk has turned against it and has been campaigning against the passage of this bill over the last few days. And multiple Republican senators have said there's no way they will vote on it in its current configuration. So looks like it's going to be amended. If it's ever going to be passed, it's definitely going to be amended first. Now, will they take the hearing protection part of the bill out? Will they take out the section that actually removes silencers from the NFA? I don't know. That doesn't seem to be the most offensive thing in the bill. The reason Elon Musk is against it right now is because he says there's too much pork in it, that it raises the national debt by trillions. Weren't they supposed to cut the national debt? Doesn't look like that's happening. Looks like it's going to go up trillions of dollars with this budget reconciliation bill. So Musk is totally against it now. Also, some senators are against it. Some Republican senators, mainly for the same reason, the pork reason. And there's no way they're going to get anybody in the middle, independents or anybody else on board right now, because this bill has some pretty heinous things in it. And I do want the Senate to amend it, although I want them to leave in the Hearing Protection Act. Even if it means taking silencers off, or suppressors, depending on what you want to call them, off the NFA, it would almost not be worth it to pass this bill, because this bill actually has some pretty heinous stuff in it. Not just rampant spending, but it also has a provision in there that breaks down the separation of powers. It breaks down the balance of powers in our government. It basically makes politicians immune to the courts. They don't have to answer. The courts can't punish them if they disobey the law. So that's pretty heinous. And it's a big shame that that's actually in the bill. But hopefully, if the Senate does amend it, I'm hoping that that is so heinous and so awful to so many people that that's what the Democrats will fight for. They'll fight to get that out of there. Maybe that's why it's there, to give the Democrats a target when it's in the Senate, and to give some of the Republicans that don't like Trump a target while it's in the Senate, to where they can say, victory, we got that out of there. I'm hoping that's the case. But if they do remove the part about the Hearing Protection Act, about taking suppressors off the NFA, getting it back on in the House is not going to happen, because it only passed by one vote. And there's already been people that voted for this bill that have said now they wouldn't vote for it again. Now, only one person I know of mentioned actually the Hearing Protection Act part of the bill. Other people were talking about that whole section that says, no, the president isn't bound by the courts. And his cabinet isn't bound by the courts, and the courts can't enforce orders on them. That's the reason a lot of people in the Senate, or excuse me, a couple of people in the House have said that they wouldn't vote for it again. They didn't know it was in there, they said. They're lying. They knew it was in there just fine, but they voted for it. But they're trying to cover their asses now. But it'd be hard for them to vote for it again. But like I said, I'm hoping that is the poison pill in this bill, that it will not pass the way it is because of that provision. And I'm hoping that provision, distracts everybody. Because right now, they're not really talking about the suppressors being taken off the NFA. They're talking about that. They're talking about politicians not being held accountable to the courts, that it is breaking down the balance of power of our government between the three branches. It's breaking down accountability. And that seems to be what they're focusing on. So I'm hoping that's what they'll do. They'll just do that, and they'll say, look, we got a victory. We took that out of there. Now we can pass it. I'm hoping they won't go, well, while we're taking that out, let's take out these other things that the Democrats don't like. And most Republicans don't like either, because they were more than willing to pull it out the first time, just for a little bit of money going into their campaign funds. So they're not tied to it. And like I said, if the Senate sees that and says, well, we want this gone too, it looks like it's not going to go through and they won't get it back in. But like I said, let's keep our fingers crossed, because for now, they tend to be focusing on how much spending there is and this other provision, like I said, about accountability. And if they just get those out of there, they toss them and then they puff their chests out and strut around and they're like, look what we did. We had a big success. I'm hoping that suppressors will sneak right by them. But, Bloomberg's spending a lot of money. And unfortunately, companies like Silencer Shop are also spending a lot of money to keep suppressors on the NFA. So if they took that influence from the House also over to the Senate, I just can't see them going to the trouble of amending it and not taking that out too, since they probably got some Silencer Shop money and some Bloomberg money for that. So it isn't looking great right now. It isn't the best situation we could be in, but like I said, I'm hoping that they'll settle for those other couple of things, maybe cut the spending a little bit and get that other provision out of there, and that silencers and suppressors will be fine. But I can't just sit here and blow smoke up your rear end and say it's going to be good, because right now it looks like this bill, there's no way it's getting through the Senate the way it's written now. But our best hope is that they only take out those other two things and they forget all about suppressors. Hey everybody, Yankee here. Before we go, I just want to take a second to remind everyone that this channel is 100% viewer funded. We don't take a penny from advertisers, retailers. We don't take money from political organizations. There's no one telling me what I need to tell you. Everything that we do is done through the generosity of our viewers, either buying merchandise or becoming a patron or a Subscribe Star member. You're all the ones that support Pets and Vets and TYMP. And that's the reason I can stay true to myself and loyal only to the people who watch my channel. And I can spend my time talking about what I want to talk about, telling what I think needs to be said, and giving you my uncensored take on things I think you need to hear. So if you'd like to help keep things that way, please support the channel by becoming a patron, a Subscribe Star supporter, or just going over to my web store and buying some merch. The links are all in the upper corner of this video.